All right, so welcome to our first video of economics. In this video, we're going to basically be talking about what is economics in the first place, why do some people consider it as science, and then we'll talk a little bit about choice and how that relates to economics. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see the slides that I am talking from. So what is economics? Chapter 1, our very first set of notes for this brand new semester. All right, so let's start with basically just a definition of what is economics. So it's basically the common sense science of how and why people, businesses, and governments make the choices that they do. So why do you and I buy the things that we do? Why do businesses sell the things that they do for the prices that they sell them at? And why do governments make laws on certain things? Why do they print money? Why do they trade with other countries? So there's lots of different components to this idea of economics. So economics as a science. So scientists obviously begin with observation when they are looking at something. They want to see how all the pieces work. So how does that work? What does that look like? How and why those choices are being made? Why are people spending crazy amounts of money on hand sanitizer? Why are people waiting in long lines for a new phone? Like, they observe those kinds of things. And then they use those observations to help predict events in the future. So they basically make observations of people's past actions and how the economy has worked in the past to then predict future choices of households, businesses, and governments. And then they attempt, we'll say attempt, okay, they can attempt to control future events through altering those different variables, okay? So they might manipulate a certain aspect of things like the amount of goods offered or the price that they're offered in order to help the economy do what they're hoping it will do. All right, so that's a little bit about how economics is a science. Let's talk a little more here about this idea of choice. So every single choice we make is significant, even if it doesn't seem like it. Okay, so the quality of our life relates to the choices that we make. So if we are making, say, the choice to eat fast food for 2 meals 7 days a week, so that's 14 meals of fast food, that's going to impact the quality of our life. It's going to impact our health. We may not notice it immediately, but there could be some long-term results. So to understand choice is to basically understand life itself, okay? Choices are necessary, okay? You're constantly faced with two things, sometimes pulling you in those opposite directions. And so it's really hard to satisfy both, okay? Like, you know, you want to eat healthy, and yet you're in the store after school and you're hungry, and you may buy something that you wouldn't have bought if you felt full and you weren't stressed. Okay, so that urge to eat healthy is pulling with the urge to consume more sugar and eat something really tasty, and they're pulling you in opposite directions. So choice brings this unavoidable predicament, okay? There's two contradicting ideas, this idea of insatiability and this idea of scarcity, okay? So insatiability basically means that you have unlimited wants, okay? This idea of scarcity is this idea that everything is limited, everything is finite, there's only so much of something. And so when these two concepts, insatiability and scarcity, come together and they meet, you have to make a choice. Okay? Choice becomes necessary at that point. So in an effort to keep things on the short side, we are going to wrap things up, and I'm looking for a personal response from you. So in the Google Doc that is linked in this assignment, in that page, respond to this question. So first of all, what does economics mean to you? And then how does that impact your daily life? Okay, so think about the choices that you make on a daily basis, the choices that your family makes, choices that you see businesses making. How does economics impact your daily life? All right, so that is it for this first section of notes. I'm going to log on off and we'll be making part 2 here in just a minute.